Joe was the disciplined one, still working at 75, healthy, sharp, and so sure his Social Security check was still growing that he never bothered to file for it. He waited and waited. Then one day he finally called Social Security to ask when the bigger check kicks in. It didn't. It never would. Every monthly check from the day he turned 70 onward was gone. Not delayed. Gone. More than $150,000 in Joe's case that he can never get back. And here's why I'm starting with Joe. There are 3 money windows that all come due around your 70th birthday. 3. And one of them is the kind you can never, ever reopen. So let me talk to you, specifically. The person who played the long game. You did the hard thing. You said no to a check at 62, no at 65, no at 67. You banked that 8% a year delayed credit while everybody around you was already cashing checks. You were patient. You were right. But 70 is not the finish line you think it is. Most people treat 70 like a tape at the end of a race. You break through, arms up, done. It's not that. It's a crossing point, the one spot on the road where 3 separate lines all meet at the same time. And the thing that makes them meet? Same thing every time. That one big, maxed out check you waited years for. Watch what it does. The second you hit 70, that check stops growing. So now it's claim it or lose it. The same check drags more of itself into the taxable column on your return. And the income it adds sets your Medicare premium. Not this year, but 2 years down the road, quietly, before you ever see a bill. 1 check, 3 windows. The claim deadline, the tax window, and the one almost nobody warns you about, the Medicare blind side. And I'm going to teach all 3, not list them. Teach them with the real numbers so you can drop your own situation right in. By the end, you'll have 3 things to check and 3 government websites to check them on. SSA-.gov, IRS-.gov, and Medicare-.gov. No advisor required. Quick favor before we go deep. If you've got a parent or a spouse who's near 70, subscribe and keep this one handy, because there's one move in here you want to make before that first check ever lands, and missing it is the costliest mistake on this whole list. Window 1, the one you can't reopen. Let's settle a myth first, because a lot of smart, careful people believe it. The myth goes like this. If I just hang on a little past 70, I'll squeeze out a little more. You won't. The delayed credits stop, dead, at exactly 70. File at 70 and a half, file at 71, you get the same monthly check you'd have gotten at 70. Same number. The only difference is every month you waited, you didn't get paid. And that money? It doesn't roll over. It's just air. Think about what that means. The 8% engine that's been running for you since your full retirement age, it switches off at 70. After that, waiting isn't a strategy. It's a leak. Now, the part that catches the careful people. Nobody is coming to enroll you. There's no automatic start. The check does not just show up because you hit a birthday. Social Security will not flip a switch for you. You have to file, actively, on purpose, with paperwork. And how do I know people miss this? Because Social Security wrote a whole blog post aimed at folks 70 and older who still haven't claimed. They wrote that post because so many people sail right past the window with no idea they're bleeding money. That's Joe. That's exactly how Joe lost it. Disciplined his whole life, and the one thing he didn't do was the one thing that mattered. He didn't file. Okay, you're thinking, but I can get back pay, right? They'll catch me up. Sort of. And this is where it gets sneaky. Social Security will pay you up to 6 months of retroactive benefits in one lump sum. 6. That's the hard ceiling. Doesn't matter if you're 7 months late or 3 years late, you get 6 months back and not 1 day more. But here's the catch nobody mentions. Taking that lump sum permanently cuts your monthly check. 2/3 of 1% for every back paid month. So a full 6-month lump knocks about 4% off your check. For life. Run that out. A 6-month lump might hand you a nice chunk today, but that 4% cut dripping out of every check for the next 20 years can cost you more than the lump ever paid. So that free money, hold that thought, because it doesn't just shrink your check, it's going to come back and ambush 2 more windows we haven't even gotten to yet. Now breathe. If you haven't filed and you're sitting there sweating, you're fine. You can fix this. Here's the clean move. Social Security lets you apply up to 4 months early. So you file about 3 or 4 months before you turn 70. That way your very first maxed out check lands the month you hit 70. No gap, no lump, no 4% haircut. Smooth. And one bit of pure good news while you're here. That earnings test, the one that held back part of your benefit if you kept working and earned too much, that ended back at your full retirement age. 66, 67 for most of you watching. So it was settled years before today. You can work as much as you want now, earn whatever you want, and not a dollar of your benefit gets held back. If you're still on the job at 70, that worry was off the table a long time ago. You filed. The biggest check of your life starts landing, and then the IRS clears its throat. Here's the part nobody warned you about. Yes, even now. Even with the big beautiful bill that you heard ended taxes on Social Security. You walked in believing that check is finally yours, clean, untaxed. I need to show you what actually happens, because the gap between what you were told and what's true, that's exactly where the tax bill hides. Window 2, the tax window. And let me say the uncomfortable part flat out. Up to 85% of your Social Security can be taxed. 85. And if you delayed all the way to 70 and you've got that max check, you're almost certainly in the 85% tier. The bigger the check you waited for, the deeper into the taxable zone it pulls you. That's not a punishment aimed at you. It's just the math, and almost no delayer escapes it. So how does the IRS decide? There's a number called your provisional income. Some people call it combined income, same thing. Take your adjusted gross income, add any tax-exempt interest, then add half of your Social Security. That total is what they measure against the thresholds. And those thresholds, this is the part that makes me genuinely mad. $25,000 and $34,000 for a single filer. $32,000 and $44,000 for a couple. Those numbers were set in 1984 and 1993, and they have never, not once, been adjusted for inflation. Not in 40 years. Think about what that does. Back in 84, maybe 8 or 10% of retirees paid any tax on their Social Security. Today, roughly half. Nothing changed in the law. The law just sat there while everybody's checks grew with the cost of living, and those frozen thresholds didn't budge an inch. Every raise you get pulls a little more of you over the line. It's a tax increase nobody ever had to vote for. Now, the myth I have to kill, because it's the most dangerous one going around right now. No tax on Social Security. You heard it. The big beautiful bill, the OBBBA, was going to wipe out taxes on your benefits. Here's what actually happened. It did not end taxes on Social Security. What it did was add a separate deduction. $6,000 for taxpayers 65 and up, and only for tax years 2025 through 2028. 4 years. That's it. And it does not touch those provisional income thresholds at all. The rules that decide how much of your check gets taxed, untouched, and it fades out as your income climbs. The $6,000 starts shrinking once you're past $75,000 of modified adjusted gross income, MAGI, as a single filer, $150,000 as a couple. And it's gone completely at $175,000 single, $250,000 for a couple. File married but separate, and you get nothing at all. So if anybody told you the senior bonus means your check is tax-free now, that's just not how it works. Let me give you one clean number to carry. Once you're in that 85% tier, here's the rule of thumb. Every extra dollar of Social Security adds about 85 cents to your taxable income. So that big check comes with roughly an 85-cent tax drag riding on every dollar. The raise is still real. You're still ahead. You just plan for the drag instead of getting blindsided by it in April. And remember that 6-month back pay lump from window 1? Here's the first place it bites. If all of it lands in one tax year, it can shove you up into a higher bracket. The whole pile counts as income at once. That's half the reason that free money isn't free. The other half is coming, because that same income, the income that just set your tax bill, is quietly setting another bill, one that won't show up for 2 more years. Let me pull the thread tight before we get to the strangest window of the 3. One thing is driving all of this: your maxed check. It stopped growing, so you claim it. It's taxable, so you plan for it. And now, the third thing it does. The income it creates is setting your Medicare bill 2 years out, and most people never see it coming until the letter lands. 3 windows, 1 trigger. That's the whole game. Window 3, the Medicare blindside. It has a name, IRMAA, and the first thing I need you to hear is this: you don't have to be wealthy for it to hit you. IRMAA is a surcharge tacked on top of your Medicare premium once your income crosses a line. And that line is $109,000 for a single filer, $218,000 for a couple. Sounds high, right? Now add it up. A maxed Social Security check, plus a pension, plus 1 IRA withdrawal. You're there. The base Medicare Part B premium in 2026 is $202.90 a month, and crossing into that first tier adds about $81 a month on top of that, per person. But the surcharge isn't the shock. This next part is. This is the stop the video and rewind part. Your Medicare premium isn't based on this year's income. It's based on your tax return from 2 years ago, the look back. So the premium you pay in 2026 was set by your 2024 return, which means, follow this, the big max check you start collecting in 2026 is setting your 2028 Medicare premium, right now, invisibly. The bill is already being written, and you won't see it for 2 years. That income they look at, by the way, is your MAGI, your adjusted gross income plus any tax-exempt interest. The same kind of income we've been circling this whole video. And IRMAA doesn't ease you in gently. It's not a ramp, it's a cliff. $1 over the line, 1, and you owe the full tier's surcharge for the entire year. Cross from $109,000 to $109,001, and that single dollar cost you about $1,148 over the year, Part B and Part D together, for $1. The forum folks have a name for it. They call it the cliff. They're not wrong. And now the part I told you to hold on to. That 6-month back pay lump from window 1, or a Roth conversion you did before 70 to get ahead of things, either one spikes your income for that 1 year. And the 2-year look back locks that spike into your Medicare premium 2 years later, even after your income drops right back down to normal. So the free money hits you a third time. Once on your check, once on your taxes, and once more on your Medicare, 2 years after you'd forgotten all about it. So is there anything you can do? Yes. You're not powerless here, and I don't want you walking away scared. First, IRMAA recalculates every single year. If your income drops, the surcharge drops too, automatically. The next year, no fight required. It isn't a life sentence. Second, and write this one down, there's a form called SSA 44. If a real life-changing event cut your income, you stopped working, you lost a pension, your spouse passed, you file that form and ask Social Security to use a more recent, lower income year instead of the 2-year-old one. You can file it in person, by mail, by calling the 800 number, or online at ssa.gov/Medicare-/lower-IRMAA. They may also ask you to come in or schedule an appointment to finish it. Point is, there's more than one door in. One honest catch. A one-time Roth conversion is not a qualifying life-changing event, so you can't convert, get hit, and then appeal your way out, which is exactly why you plan the conversion before you do it, not after the bill shows up. Timing is the whole game. Which brings me to the one piece that ties all this timing together, and it's the rule everybody gets wrong. You've probably heard you have to start pulling money out of your IRA at 70 and a half. Forget it. That rule's been dead since 2020. Under the Secure 2.0 law, required withdrawals don't start until 73. So at 70, you're not forced to take a single dollar out yet. That's real relief. If you've been anxious, you're already late. You're not. But here's why I bring it up. 70 to 73 is about a 3-year runway, and it's the last clean stretch you've got. Once those forced withdrawals kick in at 73, they pile onto your taxable income and your MAGI, feeding right back into the tax window and the IRMAA window you just learned. So those 3 years are your window to reshape income on your terms. Measured withdrawals, conversions, before the rules start doing it for you. To be clear, so nobody mishears me, This is not a fourth thing that starts at 70. Nothing about RMDs starts at 70. It's just the clock that tells you why 70 is the last quiet year before the noise. So step back and look at the whole thing. These aren't three random facts that happen to land in the same birthday week. That's how everybody else tells it, as a grab bag. It's not. It's one event seen three different ways. The max check is the single trigger. It stops growing, so you claim it. It's taxable, so you plan for it. And it sets your Medicare bill 2 years out, so you get ahead of it. One cause, three shadows. That's why 70 is the checkpoint. It's the one stretch where all three lines demand your attention at once, and the last moment you can get ahead of all three before they lock. So here's your checklist. 3 actions, 3 websites. Grab a pen. 1. SSA.gov. Confirm your credits are maxed, and if you haven't filed, file now. Aim to apply 3 or 4 months before 70 so that first check lands clean. And if you're already past 70, weigh that 6-month back pay carefully against the 4% cut it carves into your check for the rest of your life. 2. IRS.gov. Run your tax window. Figure your provisional income. Check whether you clear the line or phase right out on that $6,000 senior deduction. And do not, for 1 second, believe anybody who tells you there's no tax on Social Security. 3. Medicare.gov. Look at where your income lands against the 2026 IRMAA brackets. Remember the 2-year look back. What you do this year shows up on your premium 2 years out. And tuck the words SSA 44 in your back pocket in case a real life-changing event ever hits. That's your 3 windows. Claim it, plan for it, get ahead of it. All driven by one check, all open for one short stretch of your life, right now. Joe didn't lose that money because he was careless with it. He lost it because nobody sat him down and walked him through the one window he could never reopen. More than $150,000 gone because a single form never got filed. So do this. Send this to your spouse or to the parent who's turning 70. This is the one to forward before they cash that first check, not after. After is too late, and Joe is the proof.